for dancing in the alleys and the streets, for the thrill and the fear of getting caught kissing, for my sister, my brother, and unity, for all the times we tried to change their minds and stale beliefs, for the loss of pride, for poverty, for the dream of just a normal life for you and me, for all the children who were starving for a loaf of bread, for the greed of politics and all the lies they spread, for all the mass polluted air we breathe, for all the litter in the streets and all the dying trees, for all the animals who suffer from elimination, for all the cats and dogs who love us without no conditions, for all the tears that seem to never end, for all the images that keep on turning in our heads, for a simple smile to last a little while, for the future generations fighting for their time, for empty promises of heaven in the afterlife, for all the imprisonment of beautiful minds, for all the babies who were born and for the ones who died, for all the times you told the truth and all the times you lied, for all the speeches that we heard about a million times, for all the shacks and shelters that were sold to make a dime for just a glimpse of a peaceful life, for the rising of the sun after an endless night, for all the pills we pop just to get some sleep, for all mankind in our country, for all the boys and girls who never knew equality, for woman, for life, liberty, for liberty, for liberty, for liberty.
That beautiful, beautiful song was Rana Mansouri. And some of the lyrics may sound a little bit familiar to some of you because he did an English translation of a song that we brought you about a week ago by a brave Iranian man who just took the tweets of their people and set them to music. Well, it's another day in paradise over here. And today we're again going to focus on the struggle for freedom in Iran because some things have changed. Just in the last 7 days, there have been some big leaps forward in bringing the people of Iran the freedom and the human dignity that they deserve. So thank you for being with us. You're watching Let's Be Frank, and we're going to dive right in now.
Yes, we will. If you don't mind, let me just quickly say Rana Mansouri is definitely one of the most talented humans I have had the honor to be a fan of and listen to. She's an Iranian who was born in America. She is very talented. I'm sure you enjoyed the voice. She's got the voice. But what makes this song so special, as you said, not only this is the proper English version of what Shervin did originally, and this is the words of Iranian people being tweeted every day and their reasoning for this revolution. It's also the fact that Rana is known. She actually speaks 7 languages, but she sings in 12 languages. And she has been one of the real feminists out there for many years, singing for Iranian women. So based on her own words, as painful as it was to do the song, but it was such an honor, such a good feeling to know that finally she's doing it on their behalf and not just her own understanding, considering she's never been to Iran. So when I heard it the first time, I understand what she's saying. I think everybody does. But I can't help but to definitely put a shout out to Rana for taking the time, for caring enough and sitting there. And as you said, doing this with all her emotion and her talent and getting it done professionally. So thank you, Rana. As a woman, as an Iranian woman, I appreciate what you did. Now, you said something has happened. So what happened, Michael?
Well, it sounds like there's been a few major developments within Iran that the police have now sided with the people. At least in many regions, there's even some video of that, of them now guarding the crowd or walking with the crowd. Also, some of these government hacking groups, I guess, have also now sided with the people and are helping them take down the government. There was a story that I started seeing it pop up all over the place this morning, actually Sunday morning, and I wasn't sure why I was seeing it, so I asked Annie before we started filming. But this is a government-sponsored hacking group. Got into a news broadcast, ran about 15 seconds of a segment they'd put together with 4 of the victims of the regime, and saying what was the translation they had directly to Khomeini, to the supreme leader?
The blood of our youth is dripping from your fingers.
Yes. So simple but powerful message. This was put on while he was doing a speech, I guess, addressing their government or their other religious leaders. And so very impactful, big deal, big story. And this is, again, it's all of a sudden it's a headline in all these English speaking and American news agencies. Something shifted. You told me something else very interesting that I wasn't aware of. I had a very busy day yesterday, but you told me something else before we started filming that I wasn't aware of, that is also, again, shows the tides are turning.
Let's just start with the police part that you said. We actually decided not to play any videos or B-rolls for many reasons, but I have posted all of this on my personal Facebook page and tweeted it out and put it on Getter, so you can find them there. But the first video that came out was kind of close up of one police officer fully geared up as he would be fighting people, joining people and walking with them. And then the second video came out with a wider shot when you see more and more police officers as the outer line actually guarding the crowd. You'll see them, they're using their hands, they're, training to guide the protesters, if we call them. I like to call them revolutionaries. But yes, they're kind of like building this wall to protect them. And everybody knows that, well, we've been praying for it, and we've been asking, from our queen to all of us average Iranian who are outside, we were asking the police and the military to join the people. And I released a video which you kindly did the voiceover for, which was the he was Air Force general who gave the call out for soldiers to join him. Now we see the police joining. That's definitely a sign of, I guess, people seeing the writing on the wall. Now, would you say every one of them have joined the people? No, but guess what? A lot of those police officers are going to see their brothers and sisters joining the people. They will gradually join. They will.
Yes. Yeah. Like a lot of times it just takes one brave person to step up to then break that facade off and inspire others that want to do the same thing to join. So I'm sure with the police, it probably started with a small number of them peeling off. I know that like early on, there were a few small departments that did join the people, but seeing like high ranking officials break off, it inspires others to do the same. People that are already questioning, why are we doing this? Why are we hurting our next door neighbors, our friends, our family? There's a lot of them that don't want to be doing it, that don't have the courage to step up on their own.
Actually, it's interesting you say that. This morning, I saw another video, which is the, I guess, the head. I don't have the terms proper in English, but there's a group of security forces getting ready to head out. And there's a video of their, person, the high-ranking person saying, "You're not going out there to kill or to beat. You're just trying to calm them down. Look at them as your own sisters and brothers." Bam! They're putting the mentality in soldiers' mind that these are your sisters and brothers. Now, will all of them follow? Again, there are many of them who truly have given into the brainwash. They really believe that this Islam needs to say whatever. We're not talking about those. There will not be a day where 100% of them are going to join. But as you said, since higher ranking officers are joining, it's going to be that motivation. And again, if you look at it, when they hacked, or at the end of Rana's music video, remember I would say the biggest mistake by the regime was the fact that they didn't manage properly to shut down communication. What do I mean by that? Masa Amini, which by the way, I just want to say this, Michael, it is amazing. I don't know if you know or not, but Masa Amini in Farsi, the hashtag Masa Amini has actually broken the record of the entire existence of Twitter hashtag ever by passing 270 million times hashtag.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
I know. Like this morning, I was like, we broke a record, and hashtag is a thing. It's a thing. Like you breaking that record is amazing. But Masa's death, Masa being killed by hands of these people started this. But if you look, they kept. We say it in Farsi. I don't know what you said in English. We say they kept adding salt to the wound.
Yes, they did. Yeah. That makes perfect sense.
Hadis was killed. And then Nika, 17-year-old girl who was raped and beaten. And then the regime, when arrested her aunt and her uncle, forced them to do a confession on camera of agreeing with the conclusion. Then her mother came on camera and said, we are under pressure and they might kill us all, but I want you to know that they killed my daughter and they raped my daughter. Now, sadly, I haven't heard from Nika's mom after that. No one has, so we pray for her safety. But point is, Nika, 17. Then, after that was the 15-year-old girl in Zahedan who was killed and raped. And they came out and said, Serena, that's her name, Serena, she committed suicide. So all of this is building up to where even the police is standing there thinking, what am I doing?
Yeah, what am I a part of? Why am I still doing this? Why am I putting my life on the line to protect this despotic regime?
Exactly. It's the fact of Massa died of heart attack. Hadith died of unknown cause. Nika jumped off the cause of death, by the way, is they say she jumped off a roof. It's bad to say this, but I don't know how the rape happened while she was landing from the roof on the ground. And then with
apparently was on the way down.
With Serena, it was she committed suicide. Some of these police officers standing there thinking, wait a minute, heart attack, accident, suicide, getting pushed, jumping off the building. It's interesting that it's not funny, but it's funny because I guess it's in our culture. But when one of the police stations in one of the cities, people burned it down, somebody tweeted out and said, "Well, the police station was depressed, so it blew itself up."
Yeah, it must have committed suicide. The lies keep getting bigger and bigger too, so it becomes more and more obvious that it is the government doing all these things. I mean, the people know it. They're not idiots. They know that they're responsible for these murders. They aren't suicides. They're not accidents. These are murders.
And that's the thing. Masa Amini, Hadith, every single one of them, I shouldn't even name, but these four, based on their gender, their age, and being raped before being killed, it was all in hands of morality police and security forces. This is where the division is starting. This is where the good ones are thinking like, wait a minute, that's not what we were supposed to do. I am fighting shoulder to shoulder with a man who I don't know if it's going to rape and kill another girl or not. That they created their own doubt and division by doing it the way they did it. That's the thing. We also have this saying in Farsi that says sometimes good comes from within a bad situation. This is what it looks like. Masa's murder is tragic. It is. We're all still in mourning, and so is the rest of them. But by regime doing what they've always done, miscalculating the power of social media, underestimating the 8.2 million Iranians in Western countries. There are 8.2 million of us out here. And even if half of us got involved, that's 4 million voices. As you know, I've been reporting on it every day for 22 days. Masih Alinejad has been on it for 22 days. Iran International is non-stop on it for 22 days, which, funny enough, it might crack you up. But yesterday, the judiciary branch of Iran has announced they're going to sue Iran International for misinformation. I'm like, what? All your problems are solved. Now you want to go after Iran. First of all, Iran International is based in America, so on their First Amendment, they got themselves protected. There's nothing you can do. But then wait, Biden administration must side with them and shut down Iran International. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Biden regime took their broadcasting license or whatever else they have, any protections they have with their press credentials.
Yeah. But that's the thing. That I don't mean to distract with Biden. I have a lot to say about Biden regime and in general Western governments. But the point is, they pushed their luck. They pushed their luck. They pretty much thought that's it. We're gonna kill a bunch of them. We're gonna rape a bunch of them. We're gonna put a bunch of them in prison. People go home. No. The more you're killing, the more they're. It's kind of like adding fuel to the fire. Every day when the dead bodies are being, and remember, this is a lot of it is happening on the streets. I saw a video of another young girl who was shot on the street yesterday, Saturday, and people were running to lift her up and take her somewhere so people wouldn't step on her. That's the thing. Those who picked her body up are going to come right back on the streets and fight even harder.
Yeah, that was one of the stories I saw in American media today, was about the protest that took place there yesterday, where I guess it was two women shot and killed at one of these protests, and they did have the video of the one woman that after she was shot, where they drug her off the street down to, like, it looked like an alleyway to me, and then I guess that's where it cut out. But then somebody was trying to give her medical care, and then another, I don't remember what the number was now, 26 or 28 that were injured or wounded just in that immediate vicinity. Mm-hmm. And again, this is happening every day. Every one of these new deaths and new stories that inspires more people against them. That injustice hits them that much closer to home. They've lost somebody close to them. So now they're going to get out there and join. If they weren't already inspired, they will be now. At this point, how do you side with these monsters? How do you prop up that regime?
Exactly. But let's quickly bounce outside of Iran, which we do. Again, when I say good news, it's still painful to watch what's happening, but to see it progress in the right way and to see people being strong to continue is a good news. So I just want to be clear. I don't say good news as if I'm happy. Part of me is still sad every day when I receive the hashtags, because we send the new hashtags to everybody who's active so we can trend those. It's new names of those who died or new names of those who were arrested. But outside of Iran is ridiculous. Their cover-up, their cooperation. Which website was it we were just talking before coming on air about, saying this is all because of poverty?
New York Times. New York Times still running that story.
And then there was somewhere else that I won't even say is specific. It's just tough restrictions, something like that.
Yeah. I think that was the Washington Post. Now, originally they were also saying it was bad economic conditions. Now they're just saying it's general restrictions for women. That's what's inspired all this. But again, not getting into like the tragedy, this massacre that's ongoing.
Exactly.
People that just want basic freedoms.
Exactly. And then now, as you said, because of a few things that has happened, including the hackers, a lot of government-trained hackers are turning against them, hacking their broadcasting, hacking their system, hacking their information and doxing them. Name of a couple of the judges who've been putting judgments out have been released, and they left town because they know what's going to happen to them if they stick around. But anyways, I'm going to go sidetrack again for a second, which everybody's used to me doing that. Before I get sidetracked, I'm going to get sidetracked elsewhere. I have no idea what is wrong with this piece of my hair.
This is a sidetrack off the initial sidetrack.
Yeah, the sidetrack off the sidetrack. I have experienced few interesting, at the same time disturbing things in last few days. As you know, I'm reporting on this non-stop. I don't care who says what. I have posted many things. One of the pictures is, by the way, schools are involved at this point, and I don't mean high school and university. I mean a school. First, I have
Yeah,
a
grade school.
video of a second grade girl who opens her book and said, "I'm done with this evil," rips Khomeini's page off her book and burns it. We're talking about second grade, a student.
Yeah.
But then I want you to remember the training of Iranian girls is a lot of different. So unfortunately, our second graders aren't the way you think of it. Anyhow, so a lot of the students, girl students in the school, started removing their hijab and grabbing Khomeini and Khamenei being the previous supreme leader and current one, pictures, which you see in every single room, every classroom, taking them down, either tearing them, burning them, stepping on them, whatever the case might be. One of the pictures, and they're not showing their faces, of course, because they don't want to get in trouble, or better yet, they don't want to be raped and killed. That's a more specific detail. But they are showing their hair. So it's and for me, it's beautiful. Michael, it is so. Every time I see their pictures, I find myself bawling. It's beautiful to see it because it's kind of me.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'm not doing the. I don't even. I can't even claim to have a drop of their bravery, but it's like they are taking revenge for me too, and I see just the smile of seeing them with their hair in the class open or in the streets, or the girl who's dancing with her hair, just feeling the wind in her hair. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So I post a picture on my page with you see the beautiful hair is a Persian thing due to getting a lot of compliment for my hair. A lot of support comes in, and someone questioned my Christianity based on this post. Reason: in this picture, they have their hair down, see gorgeous head, maybe 7, 8 of them, and then they're looking up at Khamenei and Khomeini's picture with their middle finger pointed at them.
Yes.
This person came at me of the middle finger gesture takes away from their message and shows that they're not ladies. Of course, me being me, I'm like, I don't think anybody cares about your opinion. First of all, when they're being raped, they're being called a woman at age 9, you're not worried about the ladiness, like. But if they're doing the middle finger, if you would leave the life they have lived for 10 days, forget about 10 years, 11 years, some 14, some 30, some 60, you would have done worse than showing a middle finger. She came back, of course, with, you should have stopped claiming to be a Christian if you support this. And I'm saying to them, like, who are you? Are you God? Like, whatever. Point being.
Yeah, there's a lot of judgmental Christians out there that don't really have any idea or anything positive to say or no understanding of what's going on.
That's
It's
the
insane.
thing. The bravery of these girls is undermined because they are doing a gesture that offended someone who thinks it's a sin. You know what a sin is? When you call a girl at age 9 a woman and then sell it to a man who's willing to pay enough money for her, that's a sin.
Yes.
When you arrest a 15-year-old girl, take her to detention center and rape her over and over and over and then beat her to death, that's a sin. Showing a middle finger to a monster at a teenager, as a teenager, because you're just that frustrated, should not override or undermine their bravery. And also, as you know, I don't really care who thinks I am a Christian or I'm not a Christian. For last, 3-4 months, we had someone who constantly questioned my Christianity all the time.
Pretty much.
They are still doing it because their obsession is to prove that I wasn't saved. Because I guess, as I said, they're either Jesus or God. They know better. I don't really care. But the fact that there are people who are their focusing is on such a wrong area.
Yeah.
And then I'll
it's
sit here
entirely
like, wait,
misguided.
these are the people who are going to fight with us when we have to take our freedom back? Ooh, boy.
No, they won't. Yeah,
We're going to have to be very
that.
restrictions on the slogans and on chants, and we have to be careful of our body language. I'm like, these people are dying. By the way, this is the laughter I do when I'm trying not to be a bad Christian and say the things I shouldn't say. So I just giggle at it.
Yeah, I know.
And
I
then
understand
you
the
have,
feeling.
and then you have people who actually say, It's just the hijab. And you're like,
Well,
go ahead.
yeah, that's not true either, because it isn't just the hijab. The hijab is more like the symbol of all the other oppression. It's what ties it all together, all the other rules and restrictions, and it's what gives them the excuse for the beatings and the imprisonment and the rapes and everything else. It all center around that. It's a symbol of the oppression.
Masih Alinejad said it the best. And funny enough, I actually sent a screenshot of something else to Brandon. I'm like, you see, they do watch us. Masih Alinejad said it a few times in few speeches and interviews. And then when Khamenei gave his speech last Monday, he used the exact term Masih used, which says they are watching. But Masih Alinejad said it the best. Hijab is like the Berlin Wall. When they took it off, that's where the entire regime is getting, panicky.
Yeah.
It's not just the hijab. It's I played another early on video from Iran with a girl who said, you have no idea what's going on here and you don't know what we're going through. This isn't about hijab. Hijab is just a handcuff.
Yes.
That's how she said it. Hijab is just a handcuff. But the fact that a lot of people are still in America think it's just the hijab. I'm like, where have you been? And then somebody else says, you're not putting enough information on the pictures you're posting. How do we know what's going on? I'm like, it's been 22 days. Did you just come across one post on my page somehow accidentally and you didn't bother to scroll down? What else do you want me to say? Girls out of school remove their hijab. What do you want me to say? The laziness. I need to repeat the entire story of what happened last 22 days with every post, or somebody's going to come across a post without explanation and then they don't know what they're looking at. So four
really
issues.
Pathetic.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's really pathetic that we've almost gotten to a state where everybody does have to be like spoon-fed in all the information. They apparently just really do have the memory of a goldfish. Can't remember a post they saw 2 or 3 days ago or connect simple dots. And then again, too, with the hijab, people just don't seem to understand. Like putting it as a handcuff is the perfect way to put it, because it's a tool. The Berlin Wall is a good way to put it too. It's like once that symbol is taken away, then the government lost control. Just when people started chipping the wall away, that was when everybody knew the Soviet Union had really fallen.
Yeah.
And it is, and symbolism is important. We talk about this over and over again, or people have put it in the context. I'm trying to remember the exact phrase. It's very, very clever. Where, a person can be killed, but an idea can never die.
Yes.
And there's a lot of truth in that too.
Yes, there is. And that's the thing with the hijab. I was actually interesting enough. Somebody asked me, it's like, I have not seen you either cut your hair or burn a hijab. What's up with that? And I was like, I don't have a hijab to burn. I don't. If you want me to burn something just on my head and remove it and burn it, I'll do that. But let the people in Iran do what they need to do to keep the movement going. Let us not step on their toes by doing what can get them killed, because we did what we shouldn't have. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense or not.
It made sense to me, but I guess we might have to simplify it for a few people out there.
I know. But as far as not cut, I'm like, I don't have much hair left to cut. But if you want me to cut what's left, I have no problem doing that either. But it goes back to...
Yeah.
It goes back to... not to make this about me. It's about people. It's for 22 days... As you know, many times you have taken stuff off my plate so I could just catch an hour of sleep. Because I've been reporting on stuff and I've been translating in these... None of that matters. If I'm not burning the hijab, I'm not part of the Iranian movement.
I didn't know that, but so apparently I guess I need to help you block off some time to I don't know, shave your head, because like you said, you don't have much hair left anyway. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people understand just how much time or energy you are putting into this. That they're on a schedule, what is it, 8 or 9 hours back? I have a mental block on whichever one's correct. So a lot of days you're up till 7 a.m.
They're 9 hours
catching the news of the.
ahead from
Yeah,
Central
sorry.
Time.
Well, you know me and clocks. We're not good friends.
I know.
But so yeah, there's like a lot of days where I see you posting stuff still at 7 in the morning, knowing that you've been up since 9, 10 a.m. the day before, and you're still at it. That you go 22 hours straight, covering this, plus working your day job, plus making appearances in other media. I mean, what day was it? Tuesday. You did like half a dozen programs in one day, plus your own show.
Yes, but
That's
that's
a
the
lot
thing.
of work.
But that takes me back to the 4 issues I have seen in last 22 days with us here in America. Number one is the lack of interest to as you said, to follow through. If it's not fed, it's not directly explained, dissected all over the place, you're not going to go look for it. And again, I'm
Yeah.
not saying everyone, we're talking about majority. Number two is the attitude of, it's in Iran, why is that in my business? The lack of ability to connect the dots. To be able to understand, as Brandon House said, I was on his radio Friday, I think, as he
Yeah,
said,
Friday.
we are at war with Russia, but then we're defending Ukraine while making a deal with Iran, but nobody's making that connection unless someone like Brian House sits there and make it. And then again, do majority of America watch Brian House? No, unfortunately, majority of Americans, well, half America liberals are watching CNN and View. Is that the name of the show, The View?
Yeah, The View or whatever
And
else.
then the other half of non-liberals are, watching Kim Kardashian and Bachelor and Walking Dead and Survive, whatever the
Yeah, whatever.
trending show is today. And it's football season, of course. So
Yeah.
point is, I don't know if it's dumbing down the society. I don't know what it is, and I'm not going to name it. I'm just going to say I have seen such a lack of ability to connect dots of, again, forget about the humanitarian side of it. Forget it. It's all good. Like, George Floyd is killed. I don't agree with what happened with him, but I don't think he was killed as an innocent 15-year-old and was raped and, bashed against the wall. But he died, and this country was what? The cities were burning down for a full summer as Black Lives Matter, right?
Yeah. Yeah, at least $4 billion worth of damage, 40 plus deaths, and constant coverage by the media in a glowing fashion.
And also constant attention paid by both sides in the country, those who were pro, those who were anti. And that's my point. At that point, we all had the time in the day to sit and follow what happened with George Floyd riots and Antifa and BLM, right? But if it's outside of America, who cares? That is the problem I'm afraid of, Michael.
Yeah, and I think you're right.
If people don't pay attention what's happening over there, for example, I can't remember. Let me see if I can put her on. Australia sent a reporter to Tehran to report on what's happening in Iran, right? If you watch the video, she's standing in front of what do we call it? The Tehran building, Milad, and she's talking about how women are opposing compulsory hijab looking like this. She is wearing a hijab in Iran, reporting for Australia media about women fighting against hijab.
In a hijab, or in a headscarf, head covering.
Yeah. And you're like, wait, what? Now, you know the name of the woman who did the interview with Raisi? What was her name?
Leslie Stahl.
Leslie Stahl went to Iran, did an interview with Raisi on September 16, the day Mahsa Amini was announced dead. Sit down, did the interview with him. The interview was aired either 19th or 20th of September. And that's how she looked like. What is she wearing? Hijab. And one of the questions she asked Raisi is, Mr. Raisi, is hijab mandatory in your country?
course it is.
Oh no, you just choose to wear it because when Christian Mumper decided not to wear the hijab, I canceled my interview with her. And all the women who are dying on the streets, they're just crazy.
Yeah.
They all have depression. They're finding different ways to be
Yeah.
raped and then commit suicide. Now,
It's a suicide epidemic for economic reasons, right?
I'm
Or
gonna
is it
draw
climate
the.
change?
I'm gonna do a parallel here because I have learned that what my darling fellow Americans, unless it hits home, doesn't matter. It's very familiar. There's a bad joke about I'm not suicidal and how somebody accidentally committed suicide because they had something against the Clintons, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. I have information that could lead to the arrest of Hillary Clinton from Harambe or whoever. Yes, it's an ongoing joke. The Nord Stream pipelines had information on Hillary Clinton.
But how long do you think until bodies are found that jumped off a building or whatever they are saying about these young girls in Iran being dead? And lots of mainstream media buying it because I can't remember the name of the report, but one of the leftists did report. Oh no, Al Jazeera today they finally say something about Iran and what's happening, and they released Mahsa Amini's documentation from the government's release of she had a heart condition and it was a heart attack. Like, really?
Unbelievable.
Let me get this straight, Al Jazeera. When a Palestinian goes to kill Jews, stab 10 of them, and then ends up being shot, you put the picture of the dead boy on the streets and say Zionist regime killed another poor Palestinian, right?
Of course they
But
do.
Mahsa Amini died of heart attack. Okay. As I said before, I'll say it again. Michael, we know the ending. This is not
Yes.
like any other time. This time, when somebody said, you said this a week ago, where is the revolution you're talking about? Do you really think revolutions happen overnight? Do you?
Yeah. Well, and I think the Western world not showing more support, or all these countries that are still supporting the regime there, France, the US, Germany, UK, everybody else, like that's what's slowing this down. It's just going to get more people killed. It's like us feeding money into Ukraine. It's the same thing. It's just going to cause more deaths, or has caused more deaths. So a revolution that could have been over a week from now may drag out for another month. And it's the writing's on the wall. The people will win. It's a matter of how long can this regime stay propped up.
Exactly. And because of social media, thanks to social media, we will all remember who said what, did what, when, and how. We will. I actually mentioned this, and as always, backlash, which I'm absolutely fine with. But for many days, I kept asking, where is President Trump on this? Where is President Trump on this? He finally, on his speech yesterday, said something. That, brave Iranian people are fighting, dying, going to prison, and we're with them. We're always with them. I'm glad. It took him 3 weeks to say something, but I'm glad he actually finally said something. But many did ask. It was a question, because remember, in 2016 and 2020, there was a giant group on social media called Iranians for Trump. Many of those Iranians for Trump were like, where is President Trump? Where is President Trump? He hasn't said anything. And I'm like, funny enough, they all ask me like I'm somehow, I don't know, I'm like friends with President Trump.
Like you have the inside
here
track.
every night. I'm like, I don't know, where's President Trump? How do I know? But it became my own question too after a week or so. But as we talked about, me and you, was the first week, it was kind of it's another green movement or White Wednesday. The second week was, they're going to crack down. It walked into the fourth week and everyone was like, wait a minute. This is happening. It's happening. So a lot of them are actually taking it serious at this point. But, by the way, Ilhan Omar finally said something. I don't know if you saw the video.
No, I'm shocked and amazed.
Ilhan Omar said something. And it is so absolutely amazing that I think one day this week I will take the entire half an hour of my Live Up to Freedom to talk about this. Here's what he said. The brave Iranian woman are fighting bravely for their freedom of bodily autonomy. Because no one should force anyone to practice and be part of a religion they don't want to be. Because no one should say government is God. The brave Iranian people, women, are fighting and dying. But here in America, we American women should be standing like them when they radical right took away our bodily autonomy rights, and we should scream, woman, life, freedom.
So,
how do I break this? Number one, you're wearing a hijab, standing behind a microphone, saying nobody should make anyone participate in a religion they don't want to, while you're pushing for anti-Islamophobia act in Congress, right?
yeah.
Number two, you again, like AOC and Biden and whatever her name is, Nancy Pelosi, you took this moment to talk about abortion. Now, this is where it gets the most ironic. I played that part a few times. So you're going to hijack the chant of Iranian woman, which is woman, life, freedom. Let me repeat that again. Woman, life, 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 freedom. This ain't woman, abortion, freedom. Abortion is not life, woman. Like, I don't know who wrote her speech. I don't know how she got carried away, but the absolute hypocrisy of using woman, life, freedom to fight anti-abortion is as ridiculous as it gets. But I have a feeling they're going to do it and they're going to win it, because that's where America is at today.
Yeah, unfortunately, you're probably right. And you know, her and the rest of the squad, they were again silent on this for the last 4 weeks. So now all of a sudden she speaks up. So they see the writing on the wall too. They're trying to hijack this saying and their bravery now to sell their domestic social issues here, their push for abortion and for other things. You know, it's going to get twisted into the LGBTQ agenda. It's going to get twisted in whatever they want to turn it into here, and our media will just go along with it.
Bingo. And let's not mention hard work of almost 22 days of a trending hashtag of woman life freedom. Why not let them hijack that now? Which, but by the way, is in a weird way good, because we need the help. We're not getting much help from conservatives with our hashtags. Actually, we're getting no help from conservatives. We had Ellen DeGeneres, who handed over her entire Instagram page to Nazanin for one full day to hashtag whatever we wanted, but she's on the left. But the point is, we'll take the help. Thank you for hashtagging our hashtag. But point is, America is standing at a point where they believe everything and nothing. I've heard Americans say that, and I'm like, wait. If you're going to believe nothing, then you can't believe everything. If you're going to... You see the problem with that saying? How? Where are we going, Michael? That's the point. Like, as of right now, I already struggle mentally with where's Iran going, but then experiencing the last 22 days, I'm like, where is America going?
Well, that slogan, if you stand for nothing, you'll believe anything. There's unfortunately a lot of truth in that people are just redirected every time the winds change. Because it's not even that, you know, most of these people that put the Ukraine flag or whatever in their bio, they don't really support it. They don't really care. They just know it's trendy. It's a fashion accessory. Unfortunately, that's the way a lot of America is now. They don't understand the nuance or the policy or anything else. When they put the, you know, I just got vaccinated, it's all about virtue signal. They want to care about whatever's trendy to care about. So that's what makes these things easy to hijack. And that's why, unfortunately, it probably will be hijacked. You know, in the short term, it probably will do some good. It will help spread the message, and it will help wake some people up because they'll see what's going on in Iran. In the long run, we got to look at American stupidity and how we keep falling for these things, and why more people don't actually get involved and do something productive or push back when things like this are hijacked.
Yeah, and here's another thing. I did bring this up on, I think, Brandon's show on Friday, a radio show, but just in case if anyone of our audience is not aware, here's what America has been doing while all of this is going on in Iran. Um, the special or head of negotiation of America, whatever Molly, I forgot his, Robert Molly.
Yeah, Robert Molly.
He pretty much came out and flat out said we support the peaceful protesters. By the way, this is interesting. Sidetrack again. Side note. They support the peaceful protesters. Why? How come when Antifa was burning down buildings here, you supported them? And this is a revolution. This is people being oppressed for many years. So I personally am not expecting peaceful. When you're empty-handed and bullets are flying at you, you don't want to stay peaceful. That's another thing some people were telling me, like, oh, they don't have to burn things down. No, they do. They do. First of all, for anybody who doesn't know, a lot of time when you see situations like in Iran right now, the trash cans in fire, or not buildings, but objects on fire, remember, it's for their protection because a lot of tear gas is being thrown at them. That fire helps the situation. They're not somebody, I don't even know why would people do that, but somebody posted a picture of Iranian protesters saying, here's the Iranian Antifa, look at the masks. Again, they're wearing the mask so they won't be identified and be arrested and be raped and killed. Also, they wear the mask, and most of the masks, I have the 10 list of things they keep spreading for everyone to bring. One of them is to make sure to have a non-cotton material, so it doesn't absorb, and then have lots of water to keep it wet when you put it on your face, because one of the tear gas they throw is a chemical gas that's making people suffocate and not be able to breathe. So they put soaking wet, non-cotton material on their faces. They're not Antifa of Iran, but who cares? No. Again, lack of education, lack of information, plenty of disinformation out there flying. But they will support the peaceful protesters. However, they are not looking, the exact sentence he said was, they are not looking for regime change in Iran. Ladies and gentlemen, Biden regime officially in bright daylight announced that they are not looking for regime change in Iran. Islamic Republic of Iran regime is approved, legitimized, and possibly held together by Biden regime. What you gonna do about it?
That's exactly the message they're sending. They're saying we support this dictatorship and the oppression of these people. Sorry about your luck, all those of you that are out in the street risking your lives for your basic freedoms that we take for granted here in America. I'm not surprised that's the stance of the Biden regime. You know, they're trying to revive a deal that we have no reason to revive. We have nothing to gain from it. And you're right, these protesters there's going to be violence. They have a government to overthrow, and they're trying to do it with their hands and their fists. They don't have weapons, so they can't use the threat of violence to pressure this regime out of there. It means at some point some of them are going to have to become violent. That is the reality of the situation that we're in the world we live in today. It's not like they're just going to give up power because the people are angry. They're only going to give up power when they think they're in danger and their lives are threatened.
Exactly. Honestly, I don't think they will ever give up power. They're going to be pushed out, whatever of them is left. Exactly. And again, there's a video. There's a guy begging 6 or 7 security forces to not beat his wife because she's pregnant. That very quickly turned into absolute what you could twist as Iranian people being a bunch of, barbaric, angry people. But a huge, maybe 20, 25 men just stormed into the situation. He got the wife out of the situation. They started beating the life out of these police officers or security forces. What do you expect? 6 of them are there kicking and hitting a pregnant woman as she and her husband are pleading. Of course, the rest of the Iranian men are going to jump in. By the way, I need to say this. Somebody commented on my Facebook. I already replied to them, but I want to put this out there. This is by far the biggest feminist movement and revolution in modern history, especially in the Middle East. However, even though young girls and women are leading it, I want you to know Iranian men are standing, if not behind them, absolutely next to them. We have had more men killed than women. Somebody said it's time for their man to get behind them, but I doubt it because they're all Muslims. They are not. Iranian men
No,
are standing strong. They are protecting their women to the best of their abilities. Michael, you saw the video. I sent it to you. You see a man who runs and covers a woman so she wouldn't take the bullets, and he took him for her.
yes. And I've seen multiple examples of that. And one of these may be the same police video that you were talking about, but I saw one the other day. I actually meant to forward you and I forgot, where there's it starts with a guy and his wife and probably 7 or 8 police officers. They're hitting them, the crowd's pushing back and forth, and then some other guys start to stand around, then the crowd turns on the police. They're all getting just the snot kicked out of them. And then finally, another police officer comes out back up from behind. He doesn't want to shoot at the crowd, so he shoots into the air a few times, and the crowd disperses, and then they drag a couple wounded officers away. But again, like, he didn't want to shoot into the crowd. He didn't want to hurt the people. But he
Those
had to
are the
interrupt
good
that, so the
signs.
police don't. Yes.
That's where you
Things
see
are
hesitant.
changing.
And another thing I need to put out is you will come across videos where police or security forces with uniform are fighting people. You might if you can't understand the word, or if there's no write up, actually they are not the protesters. There has been a huge disagreement between the plainclothes officers and the uniformed officers. Some of the videos out there going viral are them fighting each other. Normally, you can easily tell by them either having badges or they have guns on them. So this is not an average Iranians fighting the forces or police. It's them fighting each other. Just figured I should put that out because a lot of videos are circulating. It's hard if you don't speak the language, you don't understand what they're saying, so it gets a little complicated. But yes, Iranian men are standing up. They are fighting as much as Iranian women are. And I felt when I saw that comment, I'm like, I feel like we have concentrated on Iranian women so much that it is not fair. Today, I'll make sure to say Iranian men are dying and getting arrested and getting beat up just as much as Iranian women, if not more. So this is the Iranian People's Revolution that started and is led by Iranian women. One more thing I want to say about us in America. Chants have been changing on the streets for the last few days. It went from a lot of things to where it's concentrating on, of course, women, life, freedom, and also the chant of this is not an uprising, this is the revolution. And then recently, last 3 days, there's a chant going on that every time I hear it, half of my heart flies with happiness and the other half shatters into millions of pieces. You know what the chant is, Michael?
No, what is it?
We the people.
Oh, yes, I did see this. Yeah.
Iranian people, without the tangible concept within their constitutional law, after 43 years are screaming on the streets, we the people. We the people in America, with the absolute concept of it, are sitting back and watching it all go down. Yeah. I don't get it.
And I hate to think, do we need some horrible event like this to inspire us to take back our basic rights and things that we've seen slip away over the last 20 years? I hope not, but unfortunately, I think that is the reality of the situation.
Well, it depends on what do you call horrible? September 11th, COVID, election fraud. What is the horrible we're looking for and waiting for?
I don't know. Again, any one of these should have inspired us to actually do something, to actually push back and fight back, especially the election fraud. And it's blatantly obvious that our country and our rights are being stripped away. I think a lot of things have been done in a slow way. Like, we've talked about this before, where September 11th was the gateway to get the Patriot Act in, that then turned to other forms of oppression and surveillance. So some of it is the slow burn, but I don't know. What is it going to take? What event will finally inspire people to push back and stand their ground here?
That's the thing. Beautiful. It's not about the event, Michael. It's about the patience. 43 years. 43 years, different generations, more and more oppression. I compared in a very, very factual way, I compared the killing and murder of Ashley Babbitt to Mahsa Amini. Mahsa Amini was arrested and killed for breaking an absolute dictatorship law of hijab, right?
Yeah.
Ashley Babbitt wasn't even arrested. She was shot, killed.
Yeah.
For what? A leftist, Marxist, made up law right there and then immediately, and then covered up by lies, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll say it again. What did we do? Nothing. Political prisoners. As I said,
Yeah.
Iran didn't start it with 225,000. They started with 10 and 12 and 15 and 20 and 1,000, 100,000, 225,000. Well, technically, right now it's close to 227,000 political prisoners. But that's the thing. It's not about what needs to happen. It's about how long does it need to go on. That is what makes me think. How long we are just at the beginning of this oppression. We haven't given all the freedoms up yet. It's long until we get there. But the problem is, why do we have to wait until we get there? Why can't we watch around, look around, see what's going on, and just react? Again, we have amendments in this country. When I was on with Michelle last week, I mentioned it. I said, there are 3 things that every time I think about, I'm like, wait a minute, what are we doing? America is literally by far the only country with such a thing as Second Amendment. America is the only country with a constitution that has the concept of we, the people.
Yes.
And America is the only country with the concept of First Amendment.
Yeah. And the longer we wait, the harder it's going to be to take back what is already ours by law, because people will get used to it. They're going to get used to missing the freedoms that were once enjoyed. And we've seen this, it's repeated throughout history, but even in our own recent history, we've seen it. When you look back at, oh, well, the laws weren't this way in the 1970s.
Mm-hmm.
Things keep changing. We keep going along with it. It's that slow burn. It's boiling the frog in the pot where they don't notice there's a problem. So you're right. Is it going to take us 43 years to actually push back and try to retake our country when it's much more difficult for us to do so? Or will we develop the bravery that founded this nation? Will we do something about it now? Will we fight for those political prisoners that are still sitting there in D.C. now? Many of them without trials. Or other people, like we just heard back from Derek Evans, from his wife, just checking in earlier this week. He's still sitting in jail. It was over 2 months ago that we covered that story with him. He still doesn't get out till almost the end of October for walking in the wrong place.
Yes. Okay, we are very much on the last minute of today's program. I'm going to quickly mention those of you who are coming to Lake of Ozark event, Award Weekend, I cannot wait to see you all. I'm very excited. I look forward to the event. But on that note, as Brandon announced, I will also announce that Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, my show shall be a rerun or just a pre-mixed edit. Unless there's a breaking news that I will either try to jump on. If not, I will ask Michael to jump on. Otherwise, and then next Sunday also, I will not be here, but Michael will join you for Let's Be Frank. Hopefully with good updates and good news and all that stuff. But I want to say, even though I probably won't be on camera much with you, please don't forget to continue praying for people of Iran and pay attention to what's happening there, because as Messi said, what happens in Middle East does not stay in Middle East. And thanks for joining us today again. Michael, last words of wisdom to you.
Yes, thank you. And please take this next week, share what's going on in Iran with 2 of your friends. If every person does that, we ignite a huge segment of the country. Like I mentioned last week, I talked to a neighbor of mine who's very, very politically tuned in. He had no real idea like how serious the situation was. This is somebody that watches the news. People do care when they know about it, but they have to know about it, and our media is not doing that. So thank you for joining us. Thank you for staying with us, and don't forget to live up to freedom. Thank you.